Pinto Art Museum.
Hi everyone, I am Jeanette de la Cruz, and for today's activity, I actually visited Pinto Art Museum in Antipolo, Rizal to conduct a facility structural assessment. For this presentation, I will share my personal observations regarding the condition of the museum's building components, such as possible maintenance concerns, their impact on visitors, and the improvements that I would recommend. So, technically speaking, Pinto Art Museum is a contemporary art museum surrounded by gardens and different gallery spaces. During my visit, I actually noticed that the architecture and the natural environment are important parts of the overall visitor experience. So during my assessment, I actually focus on the required building components, including the foundation, plain floors, walls, staircases, doors, windows, ventilators, window shades, parapets, and other building services. Overall, I actually assessed the facility to be in good condition, and I actually did not observe any obvious major structural problems during my visit, and the museum appeared to be properly maintained and comfortable for visitors. And however, because many parts of the museum are outdoors, I also considered the possible effects of rain, moisture, sunlight, vegetation, and regular visitor traffic. These factors can actually affect or gradually affect building components, which is why preventive maintenance is important even when there are no major problems. For the foundation, I could only assess observable signs because the actual foundation is not visible. And based on my observation, I did not notice obvious signs of serious structural movement or damage. Honestly, the plinth was also generally in good condition. However, because the lower parts of the buildings are exposed to outdoor conditions, they should still be checked regularly for moisture, dirt, cracks, what else? Weathering. For the floors and pathways, I found them generally good and usable. However, outdoor surfaces can become slippery when wet. You know what I'm saying. Building with nature, so it's gonna get wet and slippery. Because of this, regular cleaning, inspection, and proper drainage are important. All right, so maintaining these areas helps prevent accidents and keeps visitors comfortable while walking around the museum. For the walls, I have actually observed that they were generally well maintained and contributed to the unique appearance of the museum. Since some walls are exposed to, outdoor conditions, regular cleaning and inspection should still be done to prevent problems such as dirt, discoloration, moisture damage, or deterioration. Next are the staircases. I consider staircases one of the most important components when it comes to visitor safety. So during my visit, they appeared generally usable and in good condition. However, outdoor stairs can become slippery when exposed to rain, as what I'm saying. If I were responsible for maintenance, I would regularly inspect the steps and handrails and make sure that the surfaces provide enough traction. For me, safety should always come first, especially in a facility visited by people of different ages. Now, for doors, windows, ventilators, and window shades, I also assessed them. So the doors appeared functional and suitable for regular visitor use. Since they are frequently used, hinges, handles, and locks should be checked regularly. Alright, so the windows also appear generally well maintained. And aside from that, Regular cleaning is also important because clean windows improve the appearance of the facility and allow natural light to enter. For ventilators, regular cleaning is also necessary to prevent dust and other particles from accumulating. Now, for the ventilators, regular cleaning is necessary to prevent dust and other particles from accumulating, as well as the window shades. So, although these components may seem small, they contribute to the comfort, appearance, ventilation, and functionality of the facility. So, as well as the for the parapets, I did not observe any major problems during my visit. However, these areas are actually exposed to sunlight and rain, so basically, regular inspection is still necessary to identify cracks, loose portions, or other signs of deterioration. Um, well, based on my assessment, I believe that floors, staircases, and pathways have the greatest impact on guest safety. Why? These are the areas that visitors use constantly when moving around the museum. So if these areas become wet, uneven, damaged, or poorly maintained, they can create safety risks. So if I were the facilities manager, these would be among my first maintenance priorities. Poor building maintenance can also affect visitor satisfaction. So, well, generally speaking, based on my observations, I would recommend several preventive maintenance strategies. So, regular inspections of the building's components to identify problems at an early age or early stage. Second, there should be proper cleaning and drainage, especially in outdoor areas. Third, the museum should perform scheduled repairs and repainting before minor deterioration becomes a bigger problem. So, stairs, pathways, lighting, and other safety features should be checked regularly. Finally, the gardens and outdoors areas should continue to be properly maintained because they are important part of the museum's overall atmosphere. All right. So to conclude, based on my personal observation during my visit, I assess Pinto Art Museum to be generally in good condition. So what stood out to me was how the architecture, gardens, gallery spaces, and outdoor areas work together to create a unique experience for the visitors. Overall, I would say my visit to Pinto Art Museum helped me understand how building components can actually directly affect the experience of the guests. So yeah, that concludes my facility structural assessment of Pinto Art Museum. Thank you for watching.